But what if I told you that right now, deep underground, empty megacities are frozen in time? Miles of streets carved into rocks, schools, wine cellars, squares, and even cemeteries. And for centuries, people walked to work above them, completely unaware they were living on the roof of a giant abandoned anthill. This isn't science fiction or a conspiracy theory. Most of the underground cities we will talk about today were found in the most mundane ways. Some guy started a renovation, hit an old wall with a pickaxe, and fell into an abyss where 20,000 people once hid from death. Today, we will descend into the 5 most incredible underground cities on the planet. Let's try to understand the main thing. What is it like to be a person who buried themselves alive? Not for an hour, but for months or years. Living in absolute darkness, listening for the hooves of enemy cavalry above. Get ready. After this video, you will definitely look at the floor in your apartment differently. Part 1. Derinkuyu. 18 Floors of Fear. Turkey, Cappadocia, 1963. A local resident decided to remodel his basement. He knocked down a wall, and behind it was emptiness. He looked inside with a lantern and saw a tunnel. The tunnel led to a room, then a corridor, then stairs going down, level after level. When scientists finally went down there, their jaws dropped. Beneath a tiny, poor Turkish village hid a subterranean metropolis. It went down 85 meters, 18 floors deep into the earth, like burying a 30-story skyscraper. This complex could easily hold up to 20,000 people, along with their livestock, weapons, and wine supplies. The city was named Derinkuyu, which translates to deep well. Locals had drawn water from these wells for centuries, unaware they were the tops of giant ventilation shafts. But why dig so deep? The earth here consists of volcanic tuff, soft as dried butter while underground. But once exposed to air, it reacts with oxygen and hardens into solid concrete, the perfect building material. Cappadocia was a crossroads of wars. Arab raids, Mongols, Roman legions. The locals realized, if you can't defeat the enemy, you must disappear. Imagine Derinkuyu's security system. The corridors are so narrow you can only walk bent over, single file. If an enemy broke in, a single defender with a spear could hold back an entire army for hours. But the main feature was the doors. Giant stone millstones weighing half a ton were installed on each level. These doors could only be closed from the inside. Thousands of soldiers could only knock on a solid stone wall. What was daily life like? Living in Derinkuyu during a siege was hell for a claustrophobic. Soot from oil lamps ate into their eyes. Livestock on the first floors created an unbearable smell. Dying underground was a disaster. You couldn't take bodies outside, so temporary morgues were set up on lower floors. It was life in constant twilight and fear, built by ordinary terrified people, while their homes burned above. Part 2. Nashabad. Persian Illusionists. Let's move to Iran, to the quiet town of Nashabad. In 2006, a man digging a sewer broke the ceiling of an ancient civilization. This was the underground city of Oyi, built by the Sassanids about 1,500 years ago. Nashabad was on a busy trade route, meaning armies constantly marched through. So, the locals built an invisible city. Entrances were hidden in every house, under a kitchen hearth, inside a well, or behind a closet. When an enemy approached, people grabbed valuables and descended underground in minutes. Imagine the invaders' shock. They burst into the city, but it's empty. Bread is cooling on tables, but no people. But if an enemy found a hatch, they entered a deadly labyrinth. The architecture of Oyi is pure military psychology. Tunnels are built in an L shape with sharp 90-degree turns. If an enemy shoots down the corridor, the projectile just hits the wall at the turn, and the floor suddenly drops into deep trap pits filled with sharp spikes, masked by straw. There were also hidden niches in the walls. A spear would thrust out at neck level from the darkness. The ventilation was incredible. It stayed a cool 15 degrees Celsius underground while it was 50 degrees outside. And the acoustics only worked one way. People below could hear enemy footsteps above, but the enemy heard nothing from below. Part 3. Naours. The final autograph. Northern France, the Picardy region. Quiet wheat fields and grazing cows. But right under these pastures hides the underground city of Naours, originally a Roman limestone quarry. When the Vikings attacked in the 9th century, local peasants turned the quarries into an underground ark. It had 28 massive galleries, holding 3,000 people, with bakeries, wells, and a chapel. To hide the smoke from the bakeries, they connected chimneys to the hollow trunks of ancient trees in the forest. But the most powerful story of Naours happened during World War I. The underground city was used as a hospital and rest area for Allied soldiers. Archaeologists found over 2,000 graffiti marks made by these soldiers with pencils or knives. Names, regiments, and home addresses, mostly from young guys from Australia and New Zealand. Tragically, military records show that a huge number of these boys died in the first days of the Battle of the Somme. These pencil autographs, perfectly preserved in the cool darkness, are their final testament. Part 4. Coober, Pedy, the city under the mad sun. This is the only place on our list where people live right now, voluntarily, escaping nature, not bombs. In the South Australian outback, summer surface temperatures hit 50 degrees Celsius. Living on the surface is slow suicide. But in 1915, they found precious opals here. Miners realized wooden shacks didn't save them from the heat, so they built homes inside the sandstone mines. Today, over half the town's residents live in underground dugouts. Inside, they are luxurious modern apartments with internet, kitchens, and a constant perfect temperature of 24 degrees. Coober, Pedy has underground churches, a bar, a bookstore, and even a hotel. They have a golf course on the surface made entirely of sand and rock, played at night with glowing balls. Sometimes a guy decides to expand his bedroom, takes a jackhammer, and finds a $100,000 opal vein. The landscape is so apocalyptic that Hollywood shot Mad Max and Pitch Black here. Part 5. Dixia, underground Beijing. The youngest, most massive, and most secretive city, built in the shadow of the Cold War. In the late 60s, facing the threat of nuclear war with the USSR, Mao Zedong ordered, dig deep tunnels. 1 million Beijing residents dug a second city by hand. 85 square kilometers of bunkers. It could hold 300,000 people, featuring hospitals, cinemas, and underground mushroom farms. Entrances were hidden under shop counters and living room floors. Nuclear war never happened, but in the 90s, the bunkers were divided into tiny rooms for poor migrant workers. 1 million people, known as the Rat Tribe, lived in these damp, windowless concrete boxes. Today, it's mostly closed, a monument to the pure, concentrated fear of nuclear apocalypse. 5 cities. 5 completely different stories of human survival. When it gets too dangerous or hot above, we don't give up. We just dig deeper. And the most intriguing part? Each of these cities was completely forgotten until accidentally rediscovered. So, if you're remodeling your basement and your pickaxe hits an odd emptiness, don't be scared. Grab a flashlight. You might be the first in 1,000 years to see a lost world. Which underground city would you spend a night in? Let us know in the comments.